Hi, I like to share an interesting incident which had happened many years back at IIT Kharagpur, somewhere around 1983 or so. I'm sure you must have had this kind of experience, and let me explain what it was. I have an interesting theory about it, and I hope all the architects here would enjoy listening to this. So, as you know, we architects we work quite late into the night. So that day, I had taken my toothbrush and gone to my neighboring hostel at my friend's room, and we were working quite late into the night. And then I slept off there itself. That's why I carry this toothbrush around. I was quite famous in IIT for a toothbrush sticking out of my pocket because I did not know where I would be sleeping. And IIT Kharagpur is quite a large area. Anyway, so I woke up early in the morning and groggily got out of bed and started going towards the toilets. And the room is pretty similar to my hostel. Uh, his hostel was next door to mine. And then I walked out of the corridor and turned in one direction, which I thought was the toilets. Then I went through some doors, and then I thought this should have been the toilet, and I got totally disoriented because uh, I thought, what happened to the toilets? I can see some room here. It turned out that the toilet was in the exact opposite direction. So why did I go in that direction? The reason is that this particular hostel, it's called Patel Hall. It's a mirror image design of my hostel next door, which is Nehru Hall. And what happened is that my mind is already conditioned to navigate through the various spaces in these rooms. And so I assumed that because the room looked pretty similar to mine, and the door was also similar, and all the corridors are similar, but I was not really fully awake. So I got completely disoriented, and it kind of really gave a very unpleasant feeling. You may have experienced this when you go to your neighbor's apartment. In Bombay, it is quite common to see apartments which are designed as mirror images of each other. It's a pretty standard technique. The architect designs one apartment and then he kind of mirrors the other apartments accordingly. So, I have a theory about this, and I hope you can resonate with that theory. It is not really tested, it requires some testing. And my theory is that it's not just the appearance of a building which uh, leaves an impression on people's mind. In fact, I would say it is these things, these kind of navigation which we do from one room to the other, from one door to another room, and to another door, and so on and so forth, to such an extent that it actually gets imprinted in our mind as a background to our experiences. If you recollect when you were, going to your native village where your grandparents stay, like I remember my grandparents' house in Trishur, and it's so lovely. Like, and I can literally picture myself walking from one room to the other. They're small, nice rooms, cozy rooms, and a lot of memories are in those movements from one room to the other. The interesting thing about this is that there's possibly a mathematical way to kind of denote these experiences. Let's say I am in my apartment back in my place at New Bombay, and there, say I'm sitting in the master bedroom. Uh, so let me now kind of describe it because I'm now holding my phone, so I cannot make a diagram. I'll try and make this arrangement a little better later on. And what happened is that I'm sitting in the master bedroom. So let me label the master bedroom as A. The doorway from the master bedroom to the corridor outside is B. The corridor itself is C, which leads to the living room, which is D. and the living room has the main door over there, which is E. So you have A, B, C, D, E. Now somebody knocks on the door, and remember, I'm sitting in the master bedroom. Somebody knocks on the door, and I get off from my table at my bedroom, and I navigate from A to B to C to D to E, and I open the door. Then, after dealing with whoever is standing there at the door, I close the door and I go from E back to D, back to C, back to B, and then back to A. So I call this as an experiential palindrome, because if you put this up together, it'll be A, B, C, D, E, and E, D, C, B, A, which is a palindrome. So my theory is that there are many such palindromes in our experiences, in our houses, in our apartments, in our offices, and various places which we habitually use. And this can form the backdrop, a mathematical backdrop on which you can start analyzing the way a particular uh, apartment or a house can be experienced. So it's not just one palindrome, there will be many palindromes in a house. And the interesting thing, and this is just a theory, remember, this is not something which I've really tested, but I would love to test this, and I would love to place this in front of other architects here and check whether this kind of analysis can be done. So you have various kinds of palindromes in various projects, from A, B, C, D, E, E, D, C, B, A, and so on and so forth, depending on which rooms you're navigating and where you're reaching and where you're moving around. And this can lead to what I will call as a cultural imprint in one's mind. So if you're already habituated to certain kinds of palindromes in the way you experience a particular project, you probably would be more uh, in tune to experience that next time when you go to somebody else's place and you want to go from A, B, C, D, E and back to E, back again, the way I explained. So this is a pretty interesting backdrop, this kind of what you call as a topological representation of movement in an architectural project. And I wrote my design software, TAD, which is now available. Uh, I hope to retain it free for a long time. And you should pick it up and see whether you want to do this analysis using my software, which allows one to represent spaces. So my pseudonym is Squarefoot, and I am on Instagram, square.ft. You can catch me there. I used to write some haikus to reduce my verbosity. And now I'm kind of morphing into another avatar where I'll be giving tips and tricks about architecture. Thank you very much.